Thank you for having me. Being one of the most youngest fishermen out of Point Judith, Rhode Island, I just have a real bad taste in my feeling about this. I have dealt with windmills before. I fished Block Island. It has destroyed our fishery over there. Deepwater wind, we couldn't work with them. These people are saying good favor. I mean, there's just not enough research or anything done to see exactly what the outcomes of these fisheries are. I mean, I still have another 40 years of fishing left, hopefully. I mean, we got money. I mean, it's just not, I just can't see how I'm gonna depend my life, my rest of my business that I've taken my whole time to build, on a guy who says we can coexist. I want a little bit of evidence before before you do this. And I see what they're offering. We're selling ourselves out, that's chump change. What happens to this man, I cannot remember his name, he was bringing up about how far does the dollar go? Follow the money. That's how if there's no fishermen left, how is a onshore business gonna still provide? How is a waitress gonna feed fish and chips? You know what I mean? The money goes pretty far, and I don't see it happening. I mean, overseas, there's a lot of studies that say it doesn't work. I mean, 30 years down the road, I don't know. I guess we'll see how the board feels today, but I don't see it really, I think it's too soon. I think it's too big of a project. There's other places we can do it, and that's just how I feel about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beck. Megan Lau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to speak. My name is Megan Lapp. I represent Sea Freeze Limited, a fishing company here in Rhode Island. We operate 2 shoreside facilities and 4 vessels. The council, you should have before you a petition from the Rhode Island fishing industry. Did you receive that this afternoon? It has over 170 signatures from vessels and crew, from fish houses and processors, from trawl manufacturers, from engine companies, from fuel suppliers, from shoreside businesses, opposing the Vineyard Wind mitigation plan. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what's known as an uprising. We, the fishing industry of the state of Rhode Island, refuse to be told that our businesses, our investments, our futures are worth less than what they actually are. We refuse to let an economic undervaluation of our businesses go on behind closed doors with no say in the process. Rhode Island is the ocean state. Seafood is the heart and soul of our state. And we, the Rhode Island commercial fishing community, provide this state with that seafood. Our tourism relies on it. Our restaurants rely on it. And our coastal communities rely on it. Vineyard Wind and CRMC signed a tentative deal on February 21st, which was Thursday. We in the commercial fishing industry saw that document on Friday. On Saturday, there was a FAB meeting where a lot of people showed up to oppose the plan, but were not allowed to give public comment. Some of them are here today. Others of them are on that petition. They've written comments. They've said no. I'll read the very end of it because I think it's important. Vineyard Wind is the first offshore wind project in federal waters, and as such, sets a precedent for how mitigation will occur in the future. If our industry is not taken seriously, appropriately compensated at this stage, and the mitigation procedure conducted in an open and transparent manner, other future offshore wind project mitigations will follow suit, to the detriment of our businesses and our jobs. We, the undersigned, will suffer real economic loss as a result of the Vineyard Wind project, which are in no way appropriately mitigated by the Vineyard Wind fisheries mitigation proposal. We demand fair treatment. We therefore request that the Rhode Island Coastal Resources Management Council reject the Vineyard Wind fisheries mitigation proposal. We represent Rhode Island jobs, Rhode Island businesses, Rhode Island taxpayers, and American taxpayers. If Vineyard Wind wants $1 billion of our taxpayer money to support their project, then they need to sit down and have a real conversation with the commercial fishing industry, or they can go back to where they came from.
Thank you. Marla Phillips. Thank you.
Is it Mark Phillips?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mark.
BOEM deems this project as a major impact to the commercial fishing industry. But because Vineyard Wind is offering mitigation, BOEM lowered it to moderate. DEM values commercial fishing in this area at $35 million over 30 years. Vineyard Wind is offering $4.2 million over 30 years, or $140,000 to all the commercial fishing industries, shoreside, fishing, everything. $140,000. That doesn't even pay my fuel bill for half a year. There is another $12 million for a trust that has very fuzzy language in it, but he may say that it's for the fishing industry, but if you read the language in it, it's not really for the fishing industry. It's to promote safety around windmills and all kinds of things like that. But that's not really for the fishing industry. That's just make-believe money to make a few people happy and hopefully to make you guys happy. Having read a couple of scientific studies that say low-frequency noise from wind turbines kills squid, on land, that noise can travel up to 55 miles. Underwater, it has been measured tens of kilometers away. I stand to lose my whole summer fishery if this thing does what some of these scientific studies say. I can't afford to lose half a year's income. Neither can any of these other squid fishermen. And if we kill the squid, National Marine Fisheries Service, the only ones they can come after are the fishermen. They don't take into account any of the environmental impacts that something like a wind farm does. When the nuclear power plants were killing flounders, they ignored it because it's not fishing. Same with wind. It's not fishing, so it doesn't matter. It cannot be taken into account. The only thing that can be used in measuring fishing is fishing effort, and it's the fishermen that pay, nobody else. Thank you.
Thank you. Next few are Joel Hara Hovanezen, Malcolm McClintock, and Ian Parente. So Joel first.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to make my case here. I guess first of all, I have to say that this whole process from the get-go has been somewhat of a disappointment. Now, let me change. It's been a major disappointment. We have an industry that isn't just vessels. It's a whole coastal culture is this industry. And from what I see, it appears that we're in a position now where we're willing to throw a culture that's hundreds of years old away. For what? Why do we put energy above food? That's one question. What's the end game here? This is the beginning. One of the things that was said was that we're going to set a precedent here. And I totally agree with that. But this precedent that we're setting here is entirely wrong. It's entirely wrong. I mean, I went to that meeting, that sham of a meeting Thursday, where they wouldn't allow the press in. And the first thing that I'm thinking to myself is, why won't you let the press into this meeting? I'm of the opinion that there was something to be hidden. Why do we want to hide something? This is supposed to be a transparent process. You know, we had, that meeting was they called it a private meeting. But why do we have a private meeting with a public body? I mean, that doesn't even make sense to me. The FAB is a public body. They're there to basically hear our concerns, listen to what we have to say, and then we're told during a public meeting that our comments aren't welcome. Okay, well, here we are now. We're making our comments known. But, I mean, I think people need to understand that we're looking at 3.6 million acres up and down the eastern seaboard. You want to talk about setting a precedent? You're damn right we better set a precedent, and it better be the right precedent. Because for 3.6 million acres, if we don't set the right precedent, then the commercial fishing industry in the United States eastern seaboard, as we know it, is done. And I honestly believe that. Thank you.